Welcome to the Continuous Improvement Tool video. Let's get sorted. In this short video, we're going to introduce you to a tool called the 5S, which is a simple technique to help you make a difference in your workplace and potentially at home too. Something which may help those of you who hybrid work. So by the end of this short video, you'll be able to understand the benefits of 5S in both the workplace and home, implement 5S at home or at work, and identify where to find additional support resources. So can you tell us, Chailey, what is 5S?
5S stands for Sort, Straighten, Shine, Standardise and Sustain.
So it's just about keeping things tidy and putting things away?
It is, but it's a simple technique and it's one of the foundations for good process management, which we're a fan of in Team CI. Basically, implementing 5S supports process management as it creates an environment where you're able to quickly recognise when something isn't quite right. You might have heard of Marie Kondo or watched Sort Your Life Out with Stacey Solomon. They are both versions of 5S. Stacey's is done on such a huge scale where everything in the home is just laid out in a warehouse. This can be quite confronting and overwhelming for the families on the show when they see this.
So tell me more about how this links with continuous improvement.
Well, it provides a basis for eliminating waste in our work. Waste is the parts of our processes which have no value to our customers or the organisation, and we hate waste in CI. And 5S provides a good base for improving quality in a workplace, as well as health and safety. It's also good for your well-being.
And I'd imagine knowledge of this tool can support your work and your home life.
Yeah, we are all guilty of holding on to items that we don't need, both at home and in our workplace. If you just ask yourself, how often do you refer to that pile of paperwork just sat on your desk? Or that file sat on your desktop? Or use that teapot at the back of the cupboard with a broken handle? Or if you're me, the ice cream maker that's in the back of the cupboard still gathering dust?
So for me, it's children's books, spices, life, paperwork. I guess the list can go on and on. So how does the 5S help?
Well, it unclutters our lives, both physically and mentally. A study done by the University of California showed that those who describe their house as messy or chaotic displays increased levels of cortisol, a steroid hormone that's produced in response to stress. Additionally, they found that women were more adversely affected by clutter than men.
So tell me more about this first stage, the sort stage.
So the sort stage of 5S looks at whether all the stuff in our workspace or home is needed and regularly used. This can be quite an emotional stage for people, just letting go of items, because people can have an attachment to them and it can be quite difficult. So you need to gain that consensus from your team or your family to get rid of something. Examples of this are kids' clothes, books and toys at home. This is where keeping things can be sentimental and harder to give up. Chargers and out-of-date tech. I am guilty of this at home, big time. I think partly because I'm not sure how or where I should get rid of these items. At work, store cupboards for university events can have out-of-date signs, food and drinks taking up space in them, electronic files going back years on shared drives or our OneDrives. In Team CI during COVID, we dumped everything from our M&N drives without doing a sort first, and this means now we struggle to find a case study or a training doc at times. Is this ringing a bell, Liz?
Certainly is. And who goes through their inboxes and clears out old folders within them? So how do you start with sort?
A good place to start is to take a before and an after photograph or a screenshot, if you're working digitally. Discard obvious things like rubbish, broken items, unused files or older files. Think of current GDPR regulations as well. You could carry out something called a red tag exercise. This can be done physically or digitally. So what you do is you identify an area to look at. So that can be an office, a physical space, or a SharePoint or an N&M drive. Examine everything. Think of the need, the quantity and the location. Attach a red tag or post it to items you want removed. Put all red tagged items into a defined area, that's a quarantine. And this can be a physical or a digital space. After an agreed time, dispose of these items if they're unclaimed, not used, ensuring you've got agreement across the team before disposing of or deleting them.
I like the idea of the before and after screenshots. So once we've sorted, we straighten. So what do we mean by that?
So once you've cracked that sort stage and decided on what things are essential, then your next step is the straighten stage. This is about creating a designated place for your stuff. In our CI cupboard, we could create labels and designated storage areas for items we use, things like post-its, which just make it easy to identify when we need to reorder them. But it's not an excuse to create a home for absolutely everything. Don't be bypassing that sort stage.
Organising gardening equipment on specially designed racks. I'm not really sure that's for me, but what I do like is the idea of labelling storage cupboards. And since we've done this with our stationery cupboard at Team CI, it's helped us manage stock much better.
Absolutely, Liz. You'll have heard of the high security prison Alcatraz in San Francisco in America. Well, if you ever go on a tour there, you'll see a shadow knife board in the old kitchen area where each knife had its own place on the board. This is so that it's immediately obvious if anything is missing. At Alcatraz, it was a matter of life and death to know when something was out of place.
Great example, Shaylee. For me, the top tip at this stage is try not to straighten everything. Get rid of the things you don't need first, as in the sort stage. I guess there's a balance though, as we don't want to just dump everything into one place. So for example, if I was to sort my sort of like bulging inbox folders, I shouldn't just pop everything into an archive area. I need to really consider what I still need so I don't lose important information. Another tip, if you're doing this for a shared area, then there's a need to collaborate around the process of doing this straightening before you get going with it.
So you have that team consensus.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next?
So the next stage is shine. So once you've sorted and you've straightened, you need to shine, which is about keeping it clean. This is about keeping on top of things with a daily shine so that you're not doing what I've just done and blitz cleaning your desk. Lots of us now work in hot desk environments and we get used to that final clean of the shared desk when we're leaving for the day. If you still have your own desk, you probably do that manic clean like I've done once every so often. Do you clean your desk regularly, Liz?
I have to admit, probably not as much as I should, but maybe I should. It'll help with my well-being.
Yeah, it might be worth giving it a try, Liz. Standardise is about creating consistency, ensuring that your team are all storing your documentation in the same place, using the same naming conventions, putting things back on their shadow board or to the designated post-it note cupboard. The key to knowing whether this is working is to test it out with a new member of the team and see if they can quickly work to your agreed standard. This is really hard and something that we in CIHQ need to work on with our SharePoint site. I say this desperately looking for a case study again, Liz.
This is an important stage for process improvement, isn't it?
It is.
Wherever possible, we should aim to standardise our ways of working. Your point about it being important for induction and training of colleagues really resonates with me from our previous area of work, where we had a lot of processes for new staff to understand quickly. We found it beneficial to have everything documented in one place to support staff knowledge exchange and staff training and development. So remind me, what is the final part of using this technique?
So the final S is sustain. And sustaining is the most difficult, as this is where it needs to become a thing that happens as a way of life. It is a ritual, it's a part of your routine. It takes time and it takes dedication to ensure that this isn't something that slips when everything else goes a little bit crazy and everybody's demanding your time. Ways to help sustain 5S include assigning responsibilities to individuals. But remember, it's not just one person's job, it's a team effort. Photos of before and after really help people, your team and your family see the benefits. Having regular reviews make it a bit more fun. I know of a colleague whose team had a regular weekly slot on a Friday afternoon just to tidy their digital files at the end of the day. The best way to demonstrate the benefits of 5S is via a short game which was developed by our colleagues at Cambridge University from their CI team. So the game rules are each round will last 12 seconds. It's not a competition, so don't feel pressured. So round 1. This round is before 5S has been applied. So what I want you to do is try to find 7 circles, 7 triangles, and 7 squares. And you have 12 seconds. Are you ready? Go. So, how many of the shapes did you find? How many circles, triangles, and squares? Thinking about how this made you feel, was it a bit stressful? And what was it about those shapes that were making you feel like that? So let's move on to round 2. We've made a few changes and have applied the first S, which is sort. So what this means is we've discarded the items which were not needed. So that's any shape that isn't a circle, a triangle, or a square. Let's see what difference this makes. So again, I want you to find 7 circles, 7 triangles, and 7 squares. And again, you've got 12 seconds. Are you ready? Go. So, how many did you find this time? How many circles, triangles, and squares? And how did it make you feel? Was that easier? Round 3. For this round, we've made some more changes. We've done our sorting now. So now we want to find a home, a space for those items that we want to keep. This is our second S, straighten. Please find 7 circles, 7 triangles, and 7 squares. You've got your 12 seconds. Are you ready? Go. So how many of the shapes did you find this time? How many circles, triangles, and squares? Again, how did that make you feel? Now each shape's got that designated place. Did you find it easier or harder? Round 4. Now it's time to shine, which is our third S. So in this case, I haven't been getting my duster out and polish yet, but I've tidied the piles of shapes. So please find 7 circles, 7 triangles, and 7 squares. 12 seconds again. Are you ready? Go. So how many shapes did you find this time? How many of those circles, triangles, and squares? Is it getting easier now? Round 5. We're going to mix it up a little bit now. So we've made some changes again, this time to illustrate standardise, which is our fourth S. So to recap, standardise is about creating that consistency, ensuring that your team are all storing your documentation, or in this case shapes, in the same place. So it should be easy to spot when things are not in the right space. So for this round, you're looking for incorrect shapes. Please find all the incorrect shapes. That's not triangles, not squares, not circles. You've got 12 seconds. Are you ready? Go. How many incorrect shapes did you find? And how did it make you feel? How much easier would it have been to find those in round 1 or 2? Just have a think about that. So what we did have then was 5 oblongs, 4 hexagons and 4 pentagons. So this is the image we had before 5S. It's the original image. Would you have been confident in your numbers? It's just a complete shambles, isn't it? So our last S is sustain, and this is about creating 5S as a habit, an everyday ritual, and it's the hardest one to crack. This is where we only have shapes that we need. They have a space of their own. They are kept tidy in that space, and there's no random shapes dumped in that designated space. So I want you to go back to finding 7 circles, 7 triangles, and 7 squares. Are you ready? Go. So how was that? Let's have a quick compare and contrast. So that is 5S for you. It's pretty easy and anyone can do it.
It does seem pretty straightforward and very practical to achieve. So thank you, Chaley, for explaining it.
There are lots of other uses for 5S, both physically and digitally. And the key is just to step off that hamster wheel and make the time to embed this as your daily ritual. In the long run, you will save time, but you have to make that first step.
So how do our listeners find out more?
Well, you might have come across Marie Kondo, who I mentioned earlier. Her approach focuses on tidying by category and not location. So you might tidy your clothes and then move on to your books. And it's about including those sentimental items too. She talks about clutter being caused by a failure to put things back where they belong, which I am often guilty of. As mentioned earlier, watching Stacey Solomon Sort Your Life Out is a good start. Also, there was a programme called The Great Home Transformation on Channel 4, and it was hosted by Emma Willis and Nick Grimshaw. And that was another example, quite similar to Stacey's show, and they used a heat map to track how families use their home. So that helped them inform improvements that they made to their home as part of the show. And the trick is never reverting to clutter after tidying. So you have a designated place for everything. You do that sort, a home for every single one of your items.
So that's your straighten stage, yeah?
Yeah, but remember, even before thinking about storage, it's important that you finish discarding first. You go back to that sort. We can all relate to how life can derail this at times, but it's still really important. You can find work-related articles about 5S by Lifehack around organising tips for your office, and just doing a quick internet search provides more useful examples of how the tool can be used digitally, physically, and at home and within a work setting.
So anything you'd advise our listeners to do straight away?
My first thing is to do, it's a bit of a challenge, go and find the oldest item in your home. So it'd be in a cupboard at work, food tins, spice rack, tins, drawers. See what the oldest thing you can find, because it's surprising what we keep and what we don't throw away.
I bet.
Also at work, check your store cupboard. Check the top shelf, the back of the cupboard to see what surprises you might find. I actually found 2 weeks ago ping pong balls and stopwatches in the CI cupboard. So that's the end of the game, and that's it for today. We'd love to hear more about your 5S stories, so please make sure you share these on our CI network and post us some before and after photos. Let us know if you've had a go, how it was. We'd love to see that and hear from you. And yeah, thank you for today.